Hi and welcome back to Auto Social UK. Thank you so much for watching. I just want to start off by saying a massive thank you to Mini in Ipswich and especially Craig Daniels for lending me his car today. And this is a 68 plate Mini Cooper S. Mini have had a massive following, and it's easy to see why with their quirky styling. Now, the reason you'd pick one of these over competitors such as a Fiesta ST or a Volkswagen Polo GTI probably comes down to your personal preference. Now, I've always been a massive Mini fan, and I'm so excited to be driving one of these today. In recent years, the Mini has begun to get beefier and beefier, and this one is no exception. So the one we're looking at today is a Mini Cooper S Sport, and that means above and beyond the standard models, you get a great air intake on the bonnet. You also get loads of chrome styling and this fantastic John Cooper Works aero kit. So there are a few bits on this one as well that are extras. So the lamps have been added in there, and they're actually LED, and they cost around £600. There is a slightly cheaper option, but it does mean that they're not LED. So matched with the LED headlamps, they do look slightly out of place. So I definitely would advise going for the more expensive option. So this particular car has actually also been lowered. So it is a demonstrator at Ipswich Mini, so it has all been lowered by Mini, and they will do that for you as well. So it's about 30mm lower than normal. With the Sport Pack, you also get the John Cooper centre caps in your wheels and a fantastic rear spoiler. In recent models as well, they've added these absolutely fantastic little Union Jack lights. One thing that Mini do absolutely brilliantly above all the other brands is the personalisation. There's absolutely tons of ways that you can personalise this car, and my absolute favourite bit is underneath this mirror. So underneath the mirror there is a downlight, and usually the downlight beams the Mini logo onto the floor as you open the door. But with the personalisation, you can have your company logo, your name, anything like that, and it will beam onto the floor. How brilliant is that? So there is one place that the Mini's lacking, and that's in the boot. Now, the boot is smaller than the competitors, the Fiesta and the Polo. But I suppose if you're going to be buying a Mini, then you're not going to be overly fussed about space. And as you can see, today we have comfortably fitted a fair bit in there. And underneath the boot floor, it does drop down lower and there is extra storage. Now, usually I'm a massive 5-door fan. Being a girl, I like having the rear doors to put my handbag in. But with the Mini, I just think it looks right as a 3-door. I think the 5-door makes it look much longer. It makes it look like a larger car. It kind of takes away the Mini feel about it. I think if I was going to have a Mini, I'd have the 3-door, and I'd just cope with swinging my handbag over my shoulder. Jump onto Mini's website and you can quickly become overwhelmed with the amount of options that you can add onto the Mini. There is absolutely hundreds. There's about 12 different colour combinations, including stripes, different coloured roofs, different wheels, and then on top of that you've got all of the spec as well. If you are considering a Mini, what I would suggest is that you pop into your local dealer and you go and chat to somebody there. You can almost guarantee that those guys will know how to build up a Mini for the best possible price for what you find that you would like in your car. Otherwise, you could end up speccing this car to well above £30,000. Inside, Mini have kept all of the charm of the last 60 years, as well as using really nice high quality materials, so it does feel really good quality. Because this one has a sport pack, then it also gets the leather trimmed with red contrasting stitching John Cooper Works steering wheel. Now there doesn't feel like there's a massive amount of space inside. You do get a couple of cup holders in the front, and you do have these rather small door cards. But then again, if you're going to be buying Mini, you're going to be expecting it to be Mini. Again, you're not going to be interested in the space. There is enough space to pop things in here. The glove box is quite generous, but I think if you were a larger family, you might struggle. Unfortunately, there's no standard sat-nav option in the Mini, so you do need to upgrade to get one. You do also need to upgrade to get the app Connect as well, which I think is a little bit stingy when that's now free with even the base model Polos. If you upgrade to the navigation system, which comes with the app Connect, that's going to cost you about £700, which I think is probably a worthy investment, especially as that app Connect does then become wireless as well, so that's brilliant. Now, if money really is no object, then you can opt for the SatNav Plus pack. That's going to set you back a whopping £2,000, and it gets you lots of things like live updates, live traffic updates. But to be honest, when the app Waze on your phone does that anyway, I don't think there's any need to opt for that massive option. This 6.5-inch colour screen with the funky customisable lights is now a touchscreen with the option of also using the toggle. So what's it like to drive? Let's find out. So that 2-litre petrol engine is just as good as it's ever been. So it's a 2-litre, 4-cylinder, turbocharged petrol engine, producing 192 brake horsepower. If you go for the John Cooper Works, you do get slightly more horsepower as well. And the 0 to 60 time will be just under 7 seconds. Now you can trim about 0.2 of a second off of that if you opt for the automatic gearbox, but I wouldn't really think it needs it, as because of its go-kart feel, it's great to have that manual box. So despite this being the hot hatch S model, it's actually a lot more comfortable than I was expecting. You still get that really good go-kart feel as you're connected with the road, but it's actually pretty good over bumps as well, especially considering that this one has been lowered too. Now the only criticism that I do have is the steering's quite heavy. Now that might just be because I'm used to the lighter steering wheels of Volkswagens, but I can imagine that around town, if you was doing a lot of parallel parking, it could get quite uncomfortable. Also, I'm only small, but these seats really do pull you in tight. Now, you can get used to putting your arms outside of it, and I think you would do that if you was a slightly bigger person. But because of me, I sit my arms inside, and that does make me feel a little bit restrained. Thanks to good old WLTP, the emissions testing in last September, it does mean that they have taken away the pops and bangs from the exhaust. So that is pretty disappointing, but this car does still sound really good, even standard. So, you do have to be careful with the specification. Now this car is the Mini Cooper S Sport, which in my mind would make me think that I get the Sport button anyway, but you don't. That is an optional extra. It's not a particularly expensive optional extra, it's about £140, but you do have to remember to spec it with that, and that will make a huge difference to the sound of the exhaust, and it also does mean that you have an option to drive it in green mode. Now I was recently chatting to someone on Instagram who's owned a Mini Cooper S for a little while, and his journey to work is about 62 miles, and he's sitting at around 39 miles per gallon. So for somebody who bought a 2-litre petrol car expecting it to be a fortune to run, he's pretty happy with that outcome. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what you think of the Mini Cooper S. Thank you again to Mini in Ipswich for lending me the car. I've had a brilliant time with it. I knew I was going to fall in love with this, and I'm glad I've just bought a car, otherwise I think I'd be leaving with it as well.